period. On my black, brown, and indigenous. Gotta holla if you really feeling this. Gotta holla if you really real enough. Other rappers is delirious. Yeah, it's really that serious. Better holla if you really feeling me. I gotta keep it 100, ayy. If you don't like it, then fuck it, ayy. We gonna win in the end, yeah, we gonna live in abundance. I gotta keep it 100, ayy. If you don't like it, then fuck it, ayy. We gonna win in the end, yeah, we gonna. I gotta keep it 100. We gotta stop all the stunting. You know we coming from nothing. Yo, you talking about money, you bluffing. We gotta do something different. We gotta change how we live in. We gotta do better for women. We gotta do better for children. We gotta listen to victims, whether Jewish or Muslim or Christian. It doesn't matter your religion. You gotta stand against the system, or else you just another villain. How you just sitting there chilling?
Like
And
straight
as
up.
far as a space that wasn't exclusively black or brown,
Right. Right.
to be real, I told you about my Baltimore experience. There was times where I kind of felt tokenized, even in some primarily POC places, just
Mm-hmm.
because it wasn't like Latin. It wasn't like so, but
Mm-hmm.
like the Bronx was. That was why I connected so much with the Bronx, because it was like we're just all this. We're all something,
Mm-hmm.
and we're all poor, and we're
Mm-hmm.
all just trying to make it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I really connected, and I was like, oh, I'm back in my home. I'm back where I belong. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was in that space in East Harlem. My father's from East Harlem,
Mm-hmm.
116th, where the Justice Center is. Like
Mm-hmm.
my history goes there. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like thinking that it was gonna be an all black and brown space. And I'm like, what is this dude Henry inviting me there for? Like, what is it gonna be like? And it was like a motley crew of every color, creed, understanding, and it was just there. But they all had one thing in common. They were anti-colonial, anti-imperialist, anti-capitalism, anti-racist, anti-misogynist, you know, pro-LGBTQIA, pro-black, pro-independence,
Mm-hmm.
you know, pro-African, pro-Pan-Africanism. And I vibed with that. I liked seeing X on the wall. I got X on my wall. I
Right.
got Che on my wall. But they taught me things that I didn't know. What I didn't know was the history of like Cuba, for real, for real.
For real. For real. Yeah.
And just
Yeah. Yeah.
learning about like Comandante Fidel, and
Mm.
just realizing like, oh man, like there's still so much as I've studied my history and as much as I've dug in, there's so much history of Puerto Rico and our alliances with Cuba and why our flags look the same,
Right.
and that all had to do with the independence and socialist movements of that time. You know what I mean? Like, bro, our flags were designed by independent socialist, movement people. And
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm like, oh, this is why I'm drawn to that. Like, this is why it makes sense. This is why it feels good to be in these spaces. This is why, oh, Pedro Albizu Campos, like, helped write part of the Irish Constitution for independence. Oh, he was the first Puerto Rican to go to Harvard. And because of his mixed racial ancestry, when he fought for the USA, he was in a segregated, like, all black unit. In today's terms, when you look at like Pedro Albizu Campos, like, I don't know if people would look at him and consider him an Afro Latino on face value, the way he looks and the way he was. But at that time period, he was in a black unit. He wasn't in like you understand. So I'm like
Mm-hmm.
learning like the history and the roots of it and just how this is all connected, and was really important for me, man. Like, and it made me feel more complete as a person,
Mm-hmm.
and it made me feel like that pride that I've always had in being Boricua and being of like Puerto Rican descent, that pride of being a New Yorican, is not separate from like also being like an internationalist
Right.
and being like, somebody who wants the better for everybody, and
Right.
believing in the and they teach me that. They show me that like my rebellious nature is not just because like I was just a kid. It was because like I didn't agree with all the, binary rules of gender, and I
Right.
didn't agree with that turns out were imposed on us. and aren't necessarily are. It's been like this since the beginning of time, and time immemorial. These kinds of things. Like they kind of put it like if this is just like since Adam and Eve.
Right.
It's been a man and a woman, and everybody's been straight, and like people are gay now. We don't know why. It's like what? Like people have been gay since the beginning of time, and gay is good. These were radical concepts to me. Like these were radical to me.
We don't know how.
Comrade Henry, Comrade Monica,
Right.
These different people were the first people to be like, yo, this has been like this. And like your brain shifts when you learn something new and you're like, oh man, I can't just be like, oh yeah, like it's okay if you do that and I do this. I gotta be like anti-homophobia. I gotta be like strongly, just as much as I have that anti-racism and I'm so like passionate about you standing against, racism. I gotta stand for women like that. And I gotta stand for the for the LGBTQ community like that as well. And those are all the same thing. Those are not supposed to be separate things. They're forced to have separate communities because of how they're being treated.
Right.
But there's intersection also.
It's so scary on that. It pisses me off. Me being pansexual, and there's a lot of times when I don't even feel like I'm a part of certain Black spaces just because I'm pansexual. It makes me not even feel Black. You know what I mean? Yeah, because it's just the way it's portrayed. Like for a great example, like how Dave Chappelle sounded like,
oh man,
trans women are white, like apparently, and it didn't really make sense.
He's for somebody who like follow me on this for a second, because were you a fan of Dave Chappelle back in the day?
I always thought he was the greatest, honestly.
Okay.
Greatest.
Ah, thank God we're saying that. So
I love it, dude.
We're there. I'm a huge, to me, like hip hop and stand up are like, to me, it's like, right? Aren't they friends? Aren't they like,
right?
It's like, comedy brings together like the sports and the music.
Yep.
Because everybody likes to laugh.
Yep.
It brings the culture. It brings the race issue on the table. It brings the politics. It's like you're on the box. You get your time to talk, and like Black comedians specifically have had such a huge impact on like pop culture. And like, Dave Chappelle at the time when we were coming up, now I can say that confidently, was one of the new kings, like,
yeah. That's why I'm so influenced by him, because of that.
And he's intelligent, right? We can agree that he's an intelligent man.
Yes. And which is what bothers me with that last special.
And he's particularly observant.
He's involved in his community as well in Ohio. He goes to the actual council meetings. He participates in hearings. He's actually a community guy.
But I think that also messed him up. That's my theory. I don't know the man personally, but like he's very clear that he's been around a lot of like white people and a lot of white spaces. And like I don't even think he realizes how much they impact him.
Yeah, I agree. Because then
like
starting to agree with them on
because his lack of intersectionality is like crucial, like I was forced to understand intersectionality because I was like the only son in a Christian household with 3 sisters. It was obvious we were different in the house and how we were treated and how, I had to be tough and I had to be this like, stoned guy and like I couldn't cry when I was like clearly emotional as hell. You know what I mean? And how we're socialized to like express anger and that's okay publicly. But like women, if they express anger, it's like, no. But then they have like, they're more in tune with their emotions and how this reinforces stereotypes that are not true innately. And we believe that these things are innate. There's books on how it's innate. There's comedians that are, reinforcing these things. And it's so dangerous. It's so dangerous for us mentally.
Right.
Kids, adults, society, the world. It's dangerous to kind of regurgitate these ideas. And I'm disappointed, man. I expect more. And he's so influential in my brother's beliefs, like I talk to people and that he's reaffirmed what they've been trying to say, for a minute. And that's tough. So I do understand what you're saying when you say like, but I don't like it hurt me when I heard you say like you almost don't feel black, like
Yeah, well, now there's a lot of power that's coming between black and queer people, black, trans, and queer people. There's a lot of
Mhm,
power now. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Before it wasn't like that, especially when I was coming out or
Wow.
being in the closet, especially being in the closet. That's why I stayed in the closet, because it just felt like the culture was just saying that can't be, um, black people can't be queer, black people can't be trans. When
Right.
that's why it's so important to always learn the history, because we had trans pharaohs.
Shout out to
We
right. Shout
had
out to and even recently like Marsha P. Johnson like starting the like whole movement,
right,
right? In America.
exactly. Like it's just a colonized mindset that has to be decolonized, and all other aspects as well too. It's not just that. It's just that we have been taught to think that society is a certain way because this is a post-colonial mindset that we are
Yeah.
given now. But
Rest in
that's
peace,
why,
Bell Hooks. Rest in
yes,
peace, Bell Hooks.
that's why I appreciated what you said earlier when you were like, "Yeah, recipes bell hooks, man." I appreciate what you said earlier when you were saying that when you were first getting involved and seeing how the PSL is, like you kind of felt defensive with certain things. Of like, it
Very
could be
defensive.
that's a sign of
Still am.
decolonizing. You know what I mean? Because I was the same way. With certain
If there's
shit.
if there's ever anything like legitimately, the
Yes,
PSL's solid.
right.
They got a solid line. But if there were ever a comrade individually who
Mm-hmm.
did something, I would still, tell them like, hey, maybe this is a
Gotcha.
different view that we could,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
but I would trust that like we're gonna grow together in that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because I've, but like, yeah, I was real. I was kind of like almost like too loud, like not loud, but like I'd talk like critiques about it so harshly, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yep.
And even like the organization space, you'll notice that like with throughout the years, like these things are ongoing growths, right? We get new comrades. They
All the
bring in
time.
like we all bring in our own contradictions and like the things we got to work through, right?
Right.
Whether it's
Right.
like being a a man who my whole life I've identified as straight
Mm-hmm.
and still do, but I understand that there's a problematic nature in the idea of straightness,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it messes with me sometimes because I'm like, trans, a woman is a woman, trans
Mm-hmm.
women deserve to be loved, respected, cared for, protected, and I would never discriminate against that.
Mm-hmm. And that's
Does
another
that,
part.
where
That's a
does that
whole other
include,
part.
and then addressing that there are non-binary people who have been attracted to, and like what that means in honoring their gender,
Mm-hmm.
understanding that does technically qualify me as pansexual
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not attracted to like just cis women. Like I'm attracted to people on a spectrum, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Which is
having that
dope.
honest conversation with myself and accepting that was a process. I wouldn't have had that process personally without my comrades.
Right.
That's one of the many things that they helped walk me through and force me into unlearning certain things that were misogynistic or homophobic that I didn't even know was. And I'm like, no, I'm not that. Like, and they're like, you thought this, you said this, you felt this way when this happened. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, like,
Mm-hmm.
there's so much to unlearn, and it is a decolonization process of the mind.
And the humbleness, man. That's what it takes. And that's why we always gotta have these uncomfortable conversations. Like some people think that they shouldn't have these uncomfortable conversations, and they're like, "Oh, he'll
Mm.
learn on his own way." I'm like, he's not gonna learn his own way. He's not gonna.
Nah, because society's gonna reinforce your biases. Actually, it's the
They're,
opposite.
yep.
It's
They'll use Dave
crazy, dog.
Chappelle, whoever they could use
You
to
could regress.
reinforce. Yep.
You could get even worse. You can lean into it. One of the interesting things, Bell Hooks' book, The Will to Change.
Great book.
Oh my God, Men, Masculinity, and Love. I believe
Yep.
is the subtitle.
Yep. Yep.
Changed my life forever. I was already on a road, and I think that's why, like, a good trans comrade of mine, like, was like, here, like, read this book. I think you would really, like, out of all the men I know, like, I think you would really benefit from this. And I was honored. I was like, oh man, like, You know, not for nothing. Like, you know, like that means like, because there was a time period where like I don't think that would be, you know, I don't think that would be the case. You know, like, you know, just being honest. You know, like, so I was just like, wow, like I was humbled. I was like, wow, like this is where I'm at now. Where like I'm accepted into spaces that have like, all kinds of different people, like from different walks and different spectrums of gender, and they are like, oh wow, like for like a straight man, you're like really cool, like you really understand certain things, and I'm like, wow, like I owe it all to you guys, like you guys are what taught me. um there's a lot of like over congratulation when it comes to like masked people that are understanding,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like people tend to over congratulate us because like they're like, oh, you're so amazing, like wow, like you don't hate women, like you don't want
Yeah.
like trans people dead, and it's like, you know, you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
believe in humanity, and I don't think that should be congratulated. I think that, like we need to figure out how to like change the world for the better together, because it's crazy out here.
Yeah. 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 Definitely. It's I I I I get what you're saying because I'm thinking of examples on that. Like when I would say something, and then they were like, "Oh wow, you think that way?" It was like somebody would just be so shocked. I'm just like, "What?" Like for one example is like the whole vaccine conversation, and I'm like, bro, like, well, I'm just trying to listen and learn, man. I'm not trying to lead anything. Don't make me a leader until I'm actually ready. Don't give me that. Don't stroke my ego or anything until I'm actually ready, man. Like I'm always learning. I am always a pupil. I think even professors that are really good professors see themselves as pupils. You know, like even like
Yeah,
great musicians see themselves still as pupils. Like for Van Halen, uh, the lead singer from the lead singer from Van Halen literally will say, "Oh, dude, I'd still take singing classes," and he's old. It's like it's
he
80
takes what classes?
singing classes. Still takes
Oh
singing classes
wow,
till this day.
he's trying to like keep up, take care of his instrument
Yeah,
and just
like
keep
literally
it
about
going.
to retire, but
Wow,
still taking classes. That's
wow,
you're always learning, and um, because I feel like people that do that, you got to let them know don't do that because you will let them down in something because you're never going to agree on anything.
wow. Yeah, that I actually had a hard time too, because I was like I said, when I was writing a lot of music, and like as I got deeper into hip hop, like hip hop will lead you astray sometimes, dog.
Hmm.
Hip hop is not like the Bible, or
Hmm.
like the Bible is not like the Bible. Hip hop is not like a religious text to like follow. It's a bunch of like flawed people
Hmm.
saying a bunch of true and sometimes very untrue things.
Yep. Yep.
Jay-Z said it himself when he like hopped on what was the Black album
Yep.
or the Blueprint, where he comes on and he's like, these are just my thoughts, whether right or wrong, you know,
Mm.
it's just what I felt at the time that I recorded this. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
even then he was addressing like I could grow from what you. By the time you hear this, I might not even have said this. You know,
Right.
And I think that was hard for me as an artist, because I'm like, well, I want my music to be remembered forever.
Hmm.
And like, there's people that will lead you astray. There's like, if you listen to Joe Crack, I would have an N word every other, you know, song, you know what I mean, or every other verse or every other bar,
Hmm.
right? You know what I
Yep.
mean? And then having that conversation with yourself, like, what does that look like as a political artist?
Mm.
What does that look like as a fair skinned person of color
Right.
that is may have like further back African ancestry, but like isn't perceived as like Afro Latino? You know what I mean? Like having that conversation with yourself and like understanding that like how you're perceived is like that's basically the system that created racism, right? Like it was
That's
basically
very deep thought. Yeah, that's very deep.
right. I
Yeah.
can be proud of like my ancestry
Yeah.
and never have to say the N word. Like there's so many
Right.
ways, you know what I mean? Like, and also like I could be from the Bronx and it'd be a regional thing and
Right.
still unlearn it. You know what I mean? And that's my argument. Like, and I, when you're talking about like, don't make me a leader, I was like, I hope like, that's not like, when I was younger, I was like, I hope like I'm not asked about that, because like I did used to say it when I was younger, and I didn't
Mhm.
feel like I was like, I don't want to be the spokesperson for like not saying it or you know, like some people get in interviews where like they become like the person that gets asked about certain things.
Right.
I got a lot of great things I could talk about. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to be like the like, well, so this person said the N word. Like, now let's call Elias Ali. You know, let's see what he has to say about it. You know what I mean? But that's my stance on it. You know, like I just think like, you know, but then it went into the next thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even hip hop artists that don't use the N word, almost across the board use the B word.
Yeah.
Almost across the board, including me when I was coming up in the rap game. And especially when you're freestyle rapping, like when you're first like learning to get your flows up and you just need a bunch of filler words and you just like just dropping bombs
Mm-hmm.
here and there, just saying whatever, talking about like, and then, you know, like my lifestyle, you know, like I wasn't necessarily like just like sitting in my room meditating on like, you know, Marx and Lenin, you know what I mean? I was partying, I was vibing, I was exploring. So you start rapping about whatever and freestyling to get these like inspirations. And then you turn on your music and there's like Kanye and like, you know, even J. Cole who says the B word a lot and like isn't like perfect in all his like lyrics, but he's like lauded as like a conscious rapper and like this like, you know, part of that like backpack, you know, tradition, right?
Right. Backpack rap. Yep.
Right?
Yep. I definitely agree with that. And I think that because from my experience, once you start to take those words out, you start to become more clever with your wordplay in a way. I don't say the N word in my music anymore because I will feel traumatized if I heard a white person recite my bars and they say nigga. So I'm like, nah, I'm not saying that. And it was
yeah,
funny.
I think
I was laughing
like
hard because I told my friend that and he was like, "Oh, yo, that's hilarious." Because I say it within the community. I only keep it within the community now. Y'all never spit a lyric where I say it. You know what I mean? I'll sing a song or somebody else's song that will say it, but you will never hear me spit and say it because I don't want nobody repeating it that's not of the community.
that's valid. That's valid. Especially now, like it's not like things are like the communities used to be so enclosed that when these cultural things were rising up in the old days, like nowadays we don't even have we barely have regional accents now. Because of how like the world is now, like how like people are informed now, like the videos we watch, the places we live, everybody's moving everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, so it's the same with culture. Like people will go into different places and bring that cultural thing with them, the way their slang or the words they say or their derogatory words or whatever, their cuss words or their flows, their style. And other people will be like, well, that is in my community. Right? Where does that start and end? Like when you say you have an image in your head, when you say I'm only going to keep it in the community, but when you're somebody who like is exposed to different communities, when you're part of like the Bronx, New Yorican hip hop origin, right, and tradition, and that there's a school of thought where it's like, oh, the N word is regional, like we're all the same, we're all Puerto Ricans are black too, we all kind of just fall in that thing together, and it's like, wait a minute, like when I'm walking through Baltimore, they're not looking at me like I'm black.
Yeah.
They're not like, oh yeah, you know, if I'm like pulling up like saying that, they're like, yo, this dude must be like accepted by like, you know, and there was times where I got away with that. And like, where do you distinguish that? You know what I mean? Like, where do you, and I think what stopped me was I was saying it too much. And I was saying it too much. And I didn't know that, like in my later teens, I didn't know when it was appropriate. And because I got a pass on it, I thought it was okay. And I remember one time I was freestyling in front of a little shopping center. It was in front of a Subway or Quiznos or something. And I just was like rapping and going in, like responding and going back and forth with my friend. And an old head like just like came out. He didn't scold me. He didn't say anything, but he just said it. And like I had turned right when he was coming out the door, and he turned like when he heard it and just like saw me. And I don't know if he was just amazed that like I was rapping and I was Hispanic or what, like I don't know, or if it was like that he heard me say that word. But I realized like I didn't feel good saying it in front of an old head.
Yo, they don't play that, yo. Like,
and I was like,
to this day,
I was like, I respect my elders. Like, And I
Right.
thought about it for a second, and I was like, I just thought about that for a second. Like I was just like, I don't know, man. Like I think that was like when it's not like I never said it again, but I was like, I don't want to say it in my music no more. You know what I mean? And then like I realized like, you know, you could train yourself to not say it at all. And
Yep.
and I don't say it, you know, and I just don't say it.
Yep.
I
You
might
can't.
like
You
I
can't.
might like by myself, I might like do it in the lyrics, but I've actually even practiced like censoring myself when I'm by myself because like I'm like when you're by yourself and you're listening to music, you might do it by accident in front of somebody else, which I've done many times in the past. You know what I mean? Like so, like I even like I know like, and I also like just on some separate stuff like learning how to censor cuss words in general is like some performances they don't allow cussing, so like I learned how to do that anyway. You know, so
And
that's
you
how I got
become
over it.
so much more knowledgeable with your wordplay when you could do that. I noticed that.
Listen,
Because I only
listen.
use it. I only use the word when I'm
I have
mad.
people. I had a friend. I had a friend who's been a fan of my music for years, and
Right.
he's known me personally. So he's probably heard me say the N word when I was younger,
Right.
in my early 20s, and like you know whenever. So I remember I was talking to him just at Henry's wedding, at my comrade Henry's wedding. It's my friend. He's I don't know if you know, but anyway, he's black. And he's heard me say it before, and I don't think he had a problem with it. He's never said anything like that. And he loves my music. He's always loved my music since seeing my growth politically as a man. And I mentioned that I didn't say the N word in any of my music. I got a lot of music. I got a lot of music. Like I got,
Oh, I know.
I got projects. Like I got like probably over 50 songs on all streaming platforms if you put my projects together. And he was like, "You don't?" He was like, "You be rapping so much, you know what I mean?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, and he was like trying to think about songs where he thought I had said it because he was like, "How do you like? You have so much flows and like you say so much dope shit. I just thought you said that shit, you know." And I was like, "Nah," and like he like didn't believe me. Like even at the end of the conversation, he was like, "I'm gonna listen to this shit." Like,
That's funny, yo.
and I was like, "Wow, like that's crazy," like. It's so synonymous with hip hop that I think people just like presume that that's
They automatically.
Oh, and then another thing. One time I heard a girl say, a young woman say, she said, "I like trap, but like I wish like she was like I wish like hip hop wasn't like I don't know if she used the word synonymous or like married to like misogyny. Like I forget she used a word like where it was like you're just gonna get it like when you listen to hip hop." And I was like, it was just these things were like challenges like throughout where I was like, no, I could do this. Like I've learned in the past what is right and wrong, and I know what is right and wrong, and I can choose to do the right thing. And like I think like also part of that confusion is like when you're raised in like a kind of puritanical sense, almost like I was raised in like Pentecostal Christian, so like everything was a sin. So when I was unlearning what sin was, I started doing everything. I was cussing every cuss word that there was. I was drinking everything, smoking everything, popping everything, because I was just like, my parents had raised me like the outside world. Everybody's just doing drugs and having sex. You know what I mean? Like everybody every day. Once you step out of the church, if you go anywhere besides work, church, or school, like they're having sex and they're doing drugs. You know what I mean? So I was like, this is like what you do in the world, right? Like, if you're a rock star, if you're a hip hop artist, like this is just what you do. And then I realized like, no, like that's not the world. Like there's people healing. There's people, meditating. There's people doing yoga. There's people that are into working out, sports, politics, organizing. And I'm so glad. I got so lucky, that the communities that I was able to center myself in and around in New York, because I ended up at the New Eurekan Poets, lounge, or, somebody invited me to the Justice Center to do the open mic, liberation mic. And literally my response was, nah, it's too political. I don't want to get wrapped up in that crowd. Like that's literally because I was like, it's not mainstream enough. I swear that's where I was at that time period. And before I knew it, I was like, no, this is where I need to be. This is where I need to be. This is what I need to do. I need to figure it out. Like if I did something wrong or said something that was like incorrect, I was like, what book do I need to read? Who do I need to go to? Like, where do I need to, how do I need to be, how do I make sure that when people are around me, they feel safe?
Right.
Regardless of whether it's a woman or a gay person or a trans person or where they're from, how do I not feel like menacing? I don't want to feel that way, which is the opposite of what I was going for originally. I was trying to be tougher and trying to be, and yeah, I owe my comrades great books and just like, I think like the overall sense of right and wrong, like that my parents tried to put into me, even if they didn't do it perfectly. Like I think that I owe those things, like my sound and who I am.
That's dope. That's dope. Yeah, man. Because like they used to, I remember my dad used to call like, well, they still call. They call it either secular music or
Secular, yeah.
Worldly music.
Oh, you know about it. You know about it. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Isn't it interesting though that are you still a believer? Are you in the church? Where are you at with your walk? I don't want to assume anything.
Oh, me? I'm not. I'm no longer a Christian, but I still like acknowledge that there's got to be something out there. So I'm on that press right there.
Okay. So like kind of borderline agnostic ish.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Borderline.
If that's not too personal to ask, I know you're the one running the interview.
No, you're good.
Yeah. So isn't it interesting? I actually had a conversation with my roommate a couple years back when I was living in Harlem. And he was like, isn't it interesting? Because we're both comrades, we're both party members. He was like, isn't it interesting that like we grew up in church and we would go to like potlucks and like community events and like stuff like that. And now we've rebelled from the church. And what are we doing? Potlucks and community events. And like we're gathering with each other. We're like, there's kind of like a ritual to this. There's kind of like, maybe we don't meet on Sundays, but we meet on Fridays and we have a forum. And, somebody does like quote unquote, like a lecture or a talk or a sermon. You know what I mean? Right. Like, so I'm like, it's those things, like learning about like feeding hungry people, like Jesus was talking about, and like standing up for the oppressed. And like, that was the message that I got. Cause like when they were talking about the Bible, I was like, I've always been an avid reader. I was like, I'm not trying to have them tell me what to do. I want to see what's in the book. So I got to studying that, you know what I mean? And I was like, wait a minute, like it says like stand up for the oppressed. Like I read the story of like, Moses in Egypt, and I read a story about resistance and liberation. That was what I read about, and a people's self-sovereignty. That's what I read about. That's what I thought it was about. That's how I interpreted it. And I think to that to this day, some people are like, no, that was about, whatever. They could turn that into like, Zionistic or whatever, like, they could take that any which way, I don't know how deep we're trying to get in this podcast, you know what I mean? But yeah, isn't it interesting that we end up finding like a socialist space, like, and it kind of feels like a replacement for church?
Yeah,
if that's not blasphemy.
No, it's similar. You know what I mean?
I think I'm an atheist.
When organizing, oh, okay.
I think I'm an atheist. I found liberation in saying like, I don't think I believe that shit no more. That was a big moment for me because like my whole life, even when I was like learning about politics, I was like, well, I'm not going to just like replace God. Like, I might not believe in like the traditional forms of Christianity, but like I believe in what, a lot of the tenets that Jesus talked about. And, I grew up in the Bible and things like that. But I was like, a couple years ago, I was like, I don't believe none of that shit. Like none of it. And people were like, yeah, oh, I'm Islam. I was like, no, I don't think I believe in none of that shit. Like I looked into different things. I looked into brujeria. I wanted to get in touch with like my indigenous, like Puerto Rican roots.
Word.
My grandmother used to do Santeria, and my dad like warned me against that. But like there was a resurgence rather, not a resurgence of like, a connection to like, people like being comfortable with saying the word bruja out loud. I think that's like new. That's not common. That wasn't like a commonly like accepted thing. And now like, people in music and hip hop, like even hip hop wasn't like that in R&B, but even Beyonce will be like, I'm on my demon time. That used to be like unacceptable. Right?
Yep.
Now girls are just saying that. So like I feel like even though it was rebellious and like it felt demonic growing up, I was lured to it because I wanted to be rebellious. But like now I'm like, it's not, it's more than just that. Like it's like I believe like I've seen too many religious people ignore the real problems of the world and try to point me to heaven and like point me to like, you know, some other kingdom that like is alleged upstairs. And I'm just like, dog, like, but you don't even stand for the people that are struggling here.
Yep.
Are you really standing for the widow and the children and the orphans and the
How can you
poor?
influence them? How can you influence them? All they'll see is you turning your head. That's what they'll see.
So I just joined the heathens and the radicals and you know, and it turns out that the radical left is full of amazing people that actually care much more, I think, about how you know, about the better good of people. I think
I'm just dying because you said I joined the heathens.
just a bunch of heathens, just just the slum of the earth, like just all of us together. Just
The troublemaker.
we denounce the gender binary. We we introduce new words into people's vocabulary that just makes them so uncomfortable and makes them lose their
Yep.
minds, like they can't learn new words. I mean, we're just learning, we're growing. I mean, just the worst of us, you know, just terrible, terrible people like that that just believe that the world could be a better place.
Right.
Obviously, the worst of the worst. You know?
FBI's watch list.
Correct, you know, correct.
Oh man, Elias, man, I want you to perform. We're running out
Ah,
of
yeah, yeah.
time. Yeah,
Yeah, we're going on and on, man. This is amazing. I had a great time. I hope I'm not like the
Vibing.
longest conversation you ever had on here. Like, did I just
Not
break a
really.
record? Please tell me no.
Maybe second longest.
Oh
I've
man, I
had
talked too
longer.
much. I'm sorry,
I
dude.
had the
Um,
chop one, which I haven't released yet. Actually, I've one that's like 4 hours long.
if you need to chop this, you can chop it. You know what I
No,
mean?
this is not getting chopped. This is fine. This is fine. You
Thank you,
can hear
man.
me.
I hope you're not the type of person to get uncomfortable with like we have like a primarily online relationship. I know we've met in person
Yeah,
before, multiple
yeah,
times, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did we first meet in DC? Were you
I
at the P Corps?
I pretty sure that's when I first met you in DC.
I think that's
Yes.
when I first met you. Yeah, like I
Yeah. Then
think
I
people's
saw
time
you
there's a
again at
resistance.
the Liberation Mic, and then I saw you for the last time before the pandemic in New York for
Really?
another. Forgot.
Oh, that's cool,
Yeah, I forgot which event.
man. That's precious because I didn't connect with so many people after the pandemic that it's like a
Mm.
shame.
No, I
Um,
mean
but we've been able to
pandemic.
stay in contact online,
Yeah.
and like I love you, dog. Like you're so cool. Like
Oh,
you
thanks, bro.
support me, you support my music. Like it really like it means a lot. I'm at a stage where like every stream counts. You know what I mean? I work full time. I organize. I'm married. I got a life. I
Right,
got family, and like
right,
just you taking the time to listen and like it means a lot because I take a lot of time into this music.
right.
It's detrimental to like my schedule, and I insist on making sure that I get in the studio. I'm in the Bronx. I'm in Baltimore. I'm going to different places. I'm like, you know, whether it was like performances or like mostly like going to the studio and just like getting my stuff together. So I put a lot of time and effort, and it means something when like somebody's like listening and like they like tell you what part of the song they like the best, or like, you know, tell you like which project is their favorite. It's like, oh, like, and you see streams in the cities that they say they listen to it in. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That means a lot when somebody's like, you know, I'm from Boston, and you see your Boston streams go up. You know what I mean?
Right,
Or
right,
they say I'm from PA, and you see your PA streams go up. Or like they're like, oh, I'm, you know, hey, like I'm out in an army base in like Germany, and I'm like, oh, that's where those like couple hundred from like, you know, Luxembourg or something came out. You know what I mean? Or
right.
like that kind of thing. It means a lot to me, you know, like, and knowing that they show people because like it started to bubble in different places, you know, that's awesome, and it means the world to me. And I thank you. I'm gonna jump into this performance.
Oh, word. Let's go. Yeah.
I wanted to release something, you know, that show you something I haven't released, so that like hopefully we don't like risk like demonetization of this video. That being said, if I mess up, this is live and this is new. You see what I'm saying? And I
Word, word.
also just in the spirit of politics, just wanted to show you some of the stuff that like you know, having Che and Malcolm and Fidel and on the wall and this machete, you see what I'm saying? And, you know, keeping myself around like revolutionary feminism and like conversing with my partner about this type of stuff and reading, you know, Assata Shakur. And
Mm-hmm.
I do this stuff so that this is what's naturally going to come out of me.
Mm.
So that's not forced. This is on my brain. And when I freestyle rap, I thought like, oh, I'm not in the hood no more. I'm not like even in the party and street life anymore. Like I'm in a different stage of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Am I gonna lose it? Right? Am I gonna lose that ability to tap into the hip hop? Turns out all this history is full of like dope people that will constantly give you inspiration. You know what I mean? So I use my past inspiration and like, you know, I'm going forward with better lyrics than I had before, better flows, better rap. So I'm better as a rapper at 30, you know, than I've ever been before. So let's get it.
Word.
This is called Spar Boy because I've been
All
on my
right.
boxing tip too. I recently started boxing. Just everything typically Puerto Rican I do. Yeah. It's Elias Ali. Hey, 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 hey. Maybe I'll have like Muhammad Ali voiceover right here. There will never be another Ali. Look, I don't believe in demons. I control my own destiny. Ain't no future. We control our own destiny. You're gonna have to chop this, man. I totally forgot the lyrics, bro. I got stage fright. I got stage fright right at the end. Isn't that terrible?
Nah, you good. You good. I can always edit.
All right, let's get it. Yeah, no, but I do want to have like Muhammad Ali on here, like doing a little voiceover. You know what I mean? Like, if you ever dream of knocking me down, you better wake up and apologize. You know, on some shit like just crazy, just to like, because it's called Spar Boy. I want to like talk about like my come up and the like, you know, recently introduced to the boxing community. You know, look. I don't believe in demons. I control my own energy. Ain't no future. We control our own destiny. We can make a moment in history's memory. We can go deep and do away with the pleasantries. Body on killer, damn, felony, criminal intentions while smoking on the devil's trees. All seeing eye is a lie that I never need. Sleep with an eye on a slide like a veteran. Ain't none getting it. That's muscle memory. Young Spar Boy with the drop on my enemies. Body and mind getting trained like gorillas. Hop in a train in the jungle of gorillas. Smoke like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Young, handsome, and fast, and I can't be beat. Go straight off any track, any beat. Dangerous, but I never blast in the street. Look past the deep at past history. Said it ain't nothing, it's vast history. It's black history, indigeneity. It's revolutionary and it's just what I need. And I don't mean a priest. I'm here for the peace. I'ma find my release. No rest for the weary, putting work in the street, not turf and the beefs, not drugs and disease, just sincerity. Yeah. I might have maybe like a Malcolm voiceover right here. I love that speech when he talks about like the white liberal and the white conservative are like, you know, he's like, either way, you're in the doghouse. I find it not hard to believe in starving believers, hard to defeat them. Organize a riot and the empire, democratize us, demonetize us. Journey of a people in America, scary. Thought to the police from military, hard not to be just a little bit wary. Blood in my eyes, seeing red cause I'm angry. This ain't arrogance, this my heritage. Try to diss my heritage and my lineage, but I'm not indifferent cause I'm really dedicated to this shit, elevated for the kids. I'm officially an OG, going off like the old me, going hard till the OD, stay hard, you don't know me. It's no love for the police. Stay hard till the OD. No love for the police. And it's still no love for the police. Go hard till the OD. All love, keep it low key. All love, keep it low key. It's Elias Ali. That's called Spar Boy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was fire.
Coming
man.
soon. Coming
That was
soon.
fire. That's fine. Make sure you
I
definitely
appreciate
put that put that white liberal talk on there too. Yeah,
I
that's
gotta. I'm not sure if that's the
clip that I want from him.
Yo.
Sound got messed up.
I can. Oh, is it your headphones?
Yeah, it went into like my
I hate when that
it
happens.
went into the wrong thing. Now I don't see you anymore. Oh, there you are. Wait, do you hear me?
Yep.
There we go. Word.
Word.
I'm glad this isn't live.
Yeah, man. You're good though. We all make mistakes.
Good, we did it. We made through it. We made it through. We made it through.
Yo, this was a fire ass podcast, man. Wait, I got it.
Man, I appreciate that.
You heard that?
Hey, thank you. I appreciate that big time, man.
So you got any tour? You got any shows that you want to shout out before we close out? Any shows you're doing?
Dude, no shows, man. No shows,
Mhm.
man. I don't know what's going on with Omicron and everything. You see what I'm saying? I had a DJ named DJ Sauce 212 that we're talking about linking up for a show. Just definitely check out my IG at _ Elias Ali. That's on the screen, ELIAS ALI. You see what I'm saying? He was talking about doing a show and showcasing me as well. I'm definitely going to open up the books and start hitting into it a little bit more. Obviously, like I'm vaccinated. I support like people being, personally being vaccinated and socially distanced. I know it's hard out here, but I just want to be safe. I work in healthcare. I got to make sure I don't bring anything back, to these elderly folks and these families, into the community. But I'm making music. I got journals out on all streaming platforms. I just got up with a videographer. I'm gonna really buckle down, get disciplined, start getting these music videos out so you can see me more, and just making content and just building on that. And that's gonna be my next step. And I hope it continues to grow. I have music streaming in over 40 countries. You know what I mean? Yeah.
When you see that, don't it? Like,
like yeah, wow, it does, man. It does, man. Yeah, man. And my biggest base is New York, the tri-state area, and the Baltimore tri-state area, DMV.
Nice.
But I got people listening to me all over, and I hope whoever's watching this will be, a new joint. It's really important, and I hope it impacts you. And it's rap, it's R&B, it's a little poppy, it's a little mix of sometimes Caribbean.
Word. Thank you so much, Elias Ali, for coming on, brother. And I hope you have a really good, enjoy the rest of your evening and everything. And everybody check him out. I'm gonna put his links definitely in the description so you can be able to follow him and everything. And if anybody has any questions about how can I collab with Elias Ali? Are you looking for collaborations? Will you be down for that?
Absolutely. I don't know if you were talking about other people or yourself, because I would love to work with you as well. But
don't
absolutely.
worry.
I've done collabs with other people before. I helped work on a couple of songs with this artist named Ladalia. Actually, one of my top played songs is her song "Call Me Up" that I'm featured on. She's a beautiful. I write songs for other people, and we could work on that. If you have a great voice but you need somebody to help you with the lyrics, I'm down with that. That's my passion is writing and making melodies, and I would love to work with more people. I haven't worked with enough. I've worked with another artist named RXB, and like my two top songs are like feature songs. Just anytime like you get together with somebody and that chemistry is good, it's great. And like also, like I told you, you said you're an instrumentalist. I haven't done live instrumentals with somebody in a long time, and like I'm thirsting for that, like I'm aching for that. So if you're in a band or you think maybe the music will be different, you just try it out. I could send you some dope work.
Word. All right, let me let you go, man, because this was great.
Yo,
this was really great.
Much love, much respect. You see what I'm saying? I appreciate you. Thank you for having me, and I'm out.
Peace, man. Peace. Everybody have a good night, everybody.
Collectively transforming community, peace in our human family, volume of unity, divine light shining individually, collectively transforming community, peace in our human family.
One love, one growth, as above, so below. Feel the pain in my my soul, the red pill dissolved. Organized, no matter the cost. Politicians starts wars, they don't fight, they sit in the poor. And nothing lasts forever as long as we stay together. Give hell to the masses, watch the unity rapture. This is for the kids and the culture. It's one love.